this video, we're going to be talking about one of a really fun card game that me and my family always literally we play this every holiday, or actually almost every time I go to my parents' house, we probably end up playing this game, and it's called Phase 10. This game is super fun. It's pretty simple, but it can take a long time. I kind of have it set up here where 4 people are playing, and the whole point of this game is you're basically going to have either 10 rounds or basically as many rounds as it takes for one person to finish all 10 phases, which actually could take a surprisingly long time. And the way this works is every person is going to get 10 cards. So let's say it is my turn. When it's your turn, you're going to get 10 cards, and the whole goal is to get a phase and then to get rid of all your cards. So right away in the first round, we're going to be trying to get 2 sets of 3. I might have cheated and kind of set this up, but you're going to take a look at your cards, and you can see here we have 2 sets of 3 already. But the way you always start your turn is you either draw from the cards or you draw from the discard pile here. And the way you always end your turn is you're going to put a card in the discard pile. So for instance, if I needed a 5, instead of drawing it from here, I would probably want to take this 5, right? But so I don't need a 5, so I would draw from here. And my goal is to get 2 sets of 3, right? So right away we have 2 sets, and so then you can place as many cards down as you want. So for instance, let's say I already have 2 sets of 3, so I can set my 2 sets of 3 down, and then to end your turn, you put a card in the discard pile. So we're going to let's go ahead and put this 12 down, okay? And you're going to keep playing to try to get rid of all your cards. And so the way you're going to get rid of all your cards is you can either put the cards in your hand when it's your turn on someone else's phase. So for instance, if I had a 2, right, I could put a 2 down, or if I had a 7, I could put a 7 down. So let's go ahead and pretend like this person has their 2 sets of 3, so they have hit their phase 1, right? So they have a 10 and 6, and it's my turn. So I would start my turn out by drawing a card. So you can see I have 2 4s. Actually, I have 3 4s now. Could I place this down? No, because I already have my phase here, my 2 sets, my 2 and my 7s. And then I would take these 6s, and I could put the 6s there, and I could put this 10 here, and then I could put a discard down. And now I only have 2 cards left, and it would be the next person's turn, right? So it's pretty simple. You can see how it is basically, but you can see here all of the phases, they end up getting harder and harder to get. So we have 2 sets of 3, 1 set of 3, and 1 run of 4. So it progressively gets harder throughout the phases, okay? Now the way you kind of determine, so the first person to get rid of all of their cards, so let's pretend that I got rid of all of my cards. So my score for this first round would be 0, and then this person's score would be a lot higher. Now the scoring, you can do it a few different ways. So the official scoring right here, they have it to where 5 points for each card numbered 1 through 9, 10 points for each card 10 through 12, right? 15 points for a skip. The way me and my family, the way we always did it was just whatever the number on the card is how many points you got. So see, there's kind of a bunch of variations, right? And so now these 2 people, right? These 2 people didn't get their 2 sets of 3, but these 2 people did, myself, and then this person got 2 sets of 3. So we would actually move on to the next phase during the next round, and these 2 people right here would stay. They're still trying to get 2 sets of 3. And that's why this game could actually take a while, because let's say you get your first phase, but it takes you several rounds to get your phase 2. I've even had it to where I actually was able to get all 10 phases almost in a row, and then no one else was. Or let's say you get your phase 1, we move on to the next round, you're trying to get phase 2, and then this person gets their phase 1 and puts down all of their cards, and the round ends. So now everyone is now on phase, so they would be now on phase 2, and this person could still be on phase 1, right? And it would actually just start all over again. So you can kind of see how this would take forever, which is why there's different variations of this game. You could actually do where you only play 10 phases, and everyone is trying to get the same, or 10 rounds, and everyone is trying to get round 1 is phase 1, round 2 is phase 2, etc. And you just get points, and whoever has the lowest number of points at the end wins. But you can see it's not that complicated of a game. You're basically, the name of the game is phase 10, obviously, but you're trying to hit your phase that you're on and then get rid of all of your cards by either, discarding one or adding to someone else's phase. Like, for instance, this one run of 4. So if they have 1, 2, 3, 4, and you had the number 5, you could add the number 5 to the end, right? Or if you had 5, 6, 7, you could add 5, 6, 7 to the end, right? So that's how you could play phase 10. It's one of my favorite card games. We basically, like I already said, we basically play this every time I go to my parents' house. Super simple. Like, even like little kids up to your grandma can play this game. And it does get competitive because what happens is you end up realizing, like, let's say you put down your 3s, okay, or it starts to get competitive because you have your discard pile and you can see what the person next to you, like if they have a phase or you notice that they're picking up 7s and you have a 7, you don't necessarily maybe want to put down a 7 because then you're helping them achieve their phase or get rid of their cards, right? So it starts to get strategic with what number you're going to put down as your phases, because let's say you put down 7s and you notice that someone else, they're always picking up 7s, but they put down their phases, and their phases aren't 7, so they might be aiming to get rid of all of their 7s now when it's their turn on your pile. So it does start to get competitive, and it's not too fast-paced, and you're just counting, and it's super simple, and you do get these 2 reference cards that you can use and put them on the table to play with. So there you go. One of my favorite card games, one that basically we play every time I go to my parents' house, phase 10.